I would like to welcome everybody to the official public launch of the Green Rising. This is an initiative that will activate a minimum of 10 million young people to take climate action globally. That includes volunteering in their communities, advocacy at the local level, at the national level, and all the way to the United Nations and to venues like COP. And to take green skills, jobs, and start green ventures. Now, at the core of Generation Unlimited and of the Green Rising is partnerships. Everything that we do with our partners. So I want to recognize some of the extraordinary partners we have here today to launch the Green Rising with us. Obviously, UNICEF, our most important partner, with Government of Canada, who came in with early support for the Green Rising. Capgemini is here, Government of India, Government of Rwanda, Government of Egypt represented here on the stage today, SAP, Scouts, Goodwall, Dubai Cares, the list goes on and on and on. We've got a great session today. As you see, we have 3 esteemed ministers here on the stage. We have corporate leaders who will come up afterwards to speak. We have young climate activists and climate negotiators. But how we're going to actually kick this off is with a Grammy Award-winning musician who wanted to be here today. He's from India. His name is Ricky Cage. He actually developed a song, and you'll see the music video, to support this movement. And this is, in fact, the global debut of this video. So without further ado, if I could cue the video from Ricky Cage called Agents of Change. And I'm not going to sing this song if it doesn't cue up here.
The dawn is almost here, and it will surely light the way. For the whispers on the wind, they have promised better days. रंग दो इस जहां को एक नए रंग में, जियो जिंदगी को नई उमंग में. From the spark comes a fire, through the dark it casts a glow. A beacon to inspire and call the world to follow.
बदलेंगे हम सभी, बदलेगी ये दुनिया सारी. ख्वाब देखे थे जो पूरे होंगे अब सभी. इस जहां को एक नए रंग में, जियो जिंदगी को नई उमंग में.
Let us celebrate all of life. Yeah, let's lead the way.
Great way to start off the session. So now what I'm going to do is introduce three ministers who will speak to us today. These ministers represent governments and countries that have been deeply engaged and supportive of all of our work with young people working on climate action. First, I'd like to call India's Minister of Labor and Employment, Environment, Forest, and Climate Change, quite a portfolio, the Honorable Shri Bhupender Yadav.
On the dais, Dr. Rania Mashat, Minister of International Cooperation, Egypt, Honorable Dr. Jean D'Arc Maria, Minister of Environment, Republic of Rwanda, Dr. Kevin, ladies and gentlemen, I am thankful for this opportunity to address the esteemed audience here today at the RewirEd Summit hosted by Dubai Cares. I'm also delighted to be part of this platform which marks the launch of Green Rising, aimed to fueling youth-led climate actions and solutions. On behalf of Government of India, let me first express my nation's gratitude to our hosts and the presidency of COP28, UAE, for their dedicated effort in bringing together leaders from nearly 200 countries. In keeping with the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one world, one family, one future, India under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji is not only focused on progress at home, but also on steering global commitment to build a sustainable world for the present and generations to come. Friends, the young are the most crucial key to attaining the sustainable world. There is no denying the young people are among the most vulnerable group impacted by climate change. The young bear the least responsibility for the climate crisis, but they are suffering its worst consequences. But, ladies and gentlemen, there is also no denying that the youth are valuable contributors to climate action. They are agents of change as entrepreneurs, innovators, and environmentally conscious individuals with a will to drive positive change. The young today are making the best use of education, science, and technology to scale up their effort to accelerate climate action. They are using their agency to compel government world over to bring sustainability to the center stage of governance. It is our responsibility to equip them with the right knowledge and skills to usher in this change. This right knowledge must include a blend of technological power and environmental sense. While enhanced effort should be made to ensure that youth are ready to take advantage of new environment-oriented employment opportunities, there is need to recognize that we cannot tell our youth that technology can buy our way out of the current crisis. At the heart of the environmental crisis is our disconnect with nature. Trying to restore balance for the limited purpose of fueling economies is a self-defeating idea. The environment needs healing when we can extend it only by tempering technology with environmental consciousness. It lies in the understanding that nature doesn't exist to serve our need. Nature is one with us. When we harm the element of nature, we are only scripting our end. Since the young are resilient, they can easily inculcate these basic learning in both in their lives and green jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, India, which is marching with the principle of saving ecology and driving economy, is delighted that the global beginning is being made in the direction. It is important that joint initiatives aimed at building the capacity of youth as future leader and driving forces of climate regime are undertaken. Considerable effort are also needed to strengthen the adaptive capability and resilience of youth. Green jobs not only provide the much needed employment opportunities for youth, but also act as channel to contribute to fight against climate change, including adopting sustainable lifestyle. India's communication and outreach program broadly focus on harmonizing traditional and modern climate-friendly values and practices. India's national mission for strategic knowledge on climate change under the National Action Plan on Climate Change has a focus on creating awareness and understanding regarding climate change issues, particularly among students and youth. Acknowledging the potential of youth, the Government of India initiated the Green Skills Development Program with the goal of cultivating a proficient, certified, and versatile workforce within the environment and forest sectors encompassing biodiversity conservation, pollution management, and renewable energy. The program focuses on providing training and certification in various green skills to youth, particularly from rural and underprivileged communities. Friends, as you are aware, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, just 1 week ago at COP28 here launched the Green Credit Initiatives. This program will incentivize voluntary pro-planet actions and facilitate global collaboration, cooperation, and partnership through exchange of knowledge, experiences, and best practices in planning, implementation, and monitoring of environment positive action. I encourage businesses, both from the public and private sector represented in this room, to join hand in the pursuit and champion sustainable lifestyle and action. Our emphasis on climate resilience and adaptation measures, placing individual at the core of our local to global solutions, remains crucial. Building resilient infrastructure and communities capable of withstanding the impact of climate change is essential for securing our collective future. Engaging young minds in climate action fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility for the future they will inherit. An old saying that never ages tell us, child is the father of man. Man is indeed the product of habits and behavior developed in youth. A sustainable world can only be built on shoulders of pro-planet youth. The global community must thus catch them young through grassroots, volunteering, and advocacy. In this spirit, Government of India, along with UNICEF and Generation Ultimated India, has enabled 4 promising youth leaders from the country who representative of UNFCCC, Escalated Local Conference of Youth, India to participate at COP28 here in Dubai. I also want to congratulate and provide my deepest appreciation for UNICEF and Generation Unlimited Green Rising Global Initiative. The initiative aims to create pathway for at least 10 million children and youth, especially girls, in developing countries to act, acquire green skills, and contribute to countries' ambitious National Action Plan on Climate Change alongside public and private stakeholders. The resonates strongly with Government of India's vision for sustainable progress of youth, nation, and the world at large. India's commitment to address climate change with and for her children and youth, women, and other vulnerable population is strengthening. Let us stand united in supporting our initiative, working together toward a sustainable and resilient future for our nation and the world. Thank you, everyone, especially the youth. You are beacons of hope for a sustainable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you for your government's extraordinary commitment to empowering youth, especially in the green space. Our next speaker, we couldn't believe, we were just talking backstage that it was a year ago that we were in Sharm el-Sheikh together. But she is an extraordinary force on behalf of young people in Egypt. She is the Honorable Minister of International Cooperation, but she is also the co-chair of Generation Unlimited in Egypt, called Shabab Balad. Dr. Rania Al-Mashat.
Thank you very much, Kevin, esteemed ministers, my colleagues from India and Rwanda, directors, development partners, private sector representatives, young people in attendance, and everybody here who's at the conference of the parties. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be with you in the second edition of the RewirEd Summit, and I want to congratulate our friend Tariq for making it a global platform, so very exciting and more to come. And this is also our gathering today to witness the formal launch of the GenU's Green Rising initiative, very inspiring video that shows the agents of change and how the youth can push, be it on renewable, be it on nature, and also on plastic. Our gathering today is a testament to the power of adopting an inclusive multi-stakeholder approach to climate action and to the value of empowering young people as agents of change to fight against climate change. I'm convinced that the outcomes of our discussions today and the subsequent deliverables of Green Rising will add great value to what should be a global quest in ensuring the active participation of young people in protecting the livelihoods of our planet. The unprecedented adverse impacts of climate change plague our world today, and during the first week at COP, we saw the stocktake, we saw the science and how that represents what is going to be coming if we do not take action now. Currently, we embody in a warmer temperatures, rising sea levels, extreme weather conditions, more frequent national disasters, and climate change-induced migration, just to name a few of the challenges we face. However, even though we may agree that climate change does not discriminate against who it affects, it is crucial to recognize that it doesn't affect all of us equally. In fact, as may be observed throughout the relevant academic literature, people in vulnerable situations, including but not limited to young people, are disproportionately affected by the impacts of climate change. And this is impacted on them both directly and indirectly. If we look at recent studies, the current generation of young people directly affected by changed conditions, on average, there's 2.6 more droughts and 2.8 times as many river floods, and all of this affects them in different ways. Such multi-layered challenges and their subsequent negative impact on the capacity of young people to fulfill their potential intensify the necessity of cooperation between all relevant actors and increases the importance of creating international multi-stakeholder platforms that connect governments, development partners, the private sector, civil society, and most importantly, the youth who are affected by these changes. And this is through empowering them and engaging them in climate action. This is what makes Generation Unlimited, which I'm very proud to be part of the Global Leadership Council and also the co-chair of Generation Unlimited, the Egypt chapter, Shabab Balad, as Kevin mentioned, and we're very honored and proud of this partnership. It enables a diverse set of stakeholders to cooperate with one another, share experiences, expertise, facilitate funding in line with strategic priorities and initiatives, and most recently, the Green Rising. I would like to take the opportunity to commend the teams at UNICEF and Generation Unlimited for the efforts exerted in bringing the Green Rising to life, and I look forward to following the impact that it will have in empowering more than 10 million young people taking action to protect local communities across the world against climate crises, and also the initiative's three key pillars, which are fundamental: volunteerism, advocacy, skill, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And if we take a look at these three pillars, it requires everybody to take action. If we're talking about skills and job and entrepreneurship, again, the private sector involvement with Green Rising is quite fundamental. And of course, giving the youth the space to advocate and volunteer is key for all of us. The government of Egypt has always been a firm believer in the short and long-term benefits of engaging young people in climate action. Through the national version of Generation Unlimited, Shabab Balad, climate action is a cross-cutting theme that intersects with the initiative's 5 key priorities: education, employment, training, skilling, digital accessibility, and positive youth engagement. As co-chair of Shabab Balad, I'm proud to be that we are joined by the youth envoy for COP27, Omnia Al-Omrani, whose presence represents our commitment to youth empowerment in climate action and Egypt's dedication to ensuring that young voices our various decision-making, at various decision-making levels. Let me also mention that during the first week of COP, a lot has been talked about related to country platforms for climate action, that through country ownership, we can avail the financing that Professor Jeffrey Sachs talked about in the session before. And in our own country platform, the Nexus of Water, Food and Energy, the NWEFI platform, we are also engaging youth through various ways. We have with the United Nations also the Digitization and Technology Initiative, the Joint Digitization and Technology Initiative, through which we are able to solicit inputs from youth when it comes to their different projects that can be part of our country platform, the Nexus of Water, Food and Energy. Also during COP27, we had an international competition for startups, Climate Tech Run, and today at 5 p.m., the second round with the youth who have been awarded from globally on mitigation and adaptation projects are going to be announced. And I invite everybody to come to the Egyptian Pavilion to witness that. Again, youth entrepreneurs and innovators need to have platforms where they can present their digital-based and green solutions to the problems that we all face today. Startups that participated in our first edition were able to benefit from capacity building programs, networking opportunities, access to finance, and this year's edition will also serve as confirmation of the role that climate entrepreneurs are providing in transforming or providing transformative solutions. To conclude my intervention, I would like to thank Dubai Cares, our dear friend Tarek, UNICEF, Generation Unlimited, Kevin, and of course COP28 for hosting us today and for creating a platform that brings together so many young people, stakeholders from various backgrounds, and by engaging young people in the process of facing these challenges, of which of course climate change comes at the forefront, we would be doing ourselves and our planet a very huge favor. I hope that our gathering today will also help us realize the limitless potential of cooperation and also the indispensable value of empowering young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rania. And thank you for your leadership with Generation Unlimited, Shabab Balad in Egypt and globally. It's my great pleasure to introduce our final ministerial speaker before we head to a panel. And that is the Minister of Environment for the Republic of Rwanda. Now, our relationship with Rwanda goes all the way back to the founding, actually, of Generation Unlimited in 2018 by the UN Secretary General. And it was President Paul Kagame who was there with the UN Secretary General at launch, and he has been on our Leaders Council ever since, and the country of Rwanda has been on this journey with us since 2018. I also can't think of a country that better represents a whole-of-nation approach to climate action. So it is my great pleasure to introduce the Honorable Dr. Jean-Jacques Mujawamarira.
Thank you very much, distinguished guests, honorable speakers, dear colleagues from Egypt and India, Dr. Kevin, esteemed participants, good afternoon and welcome to the Green Rising Showcase at the RewirEd Summit during COP28, hosted by Dubai Cares and UNICEF. Today, we gather to celebrate the incredible effort of millions of young people worldwide who are actively engaging in climate action through the Green Rising Initiative. Our sincere gratitude to UNICEF, Generation Unlimited, and all partners for fostering a global movement empowering youth to protect their communities from the impact of climate crisis. This session promises to showcase over 1 million stories of diverse youth, boys and girls, championing for our planet, exemplifying the power of youth-led action. When young minds channel their energy into climate literacy, green skills, entrepreneurship, and jobs, they become potent contributors to climate solutions. Today, we will witness how public-private youth partnerships can amplify these actions and support a just green transition. Rwanda proudly supports the Green Rising Initiative, empowering our youth through volunteerism, special community work, Umuganda for youth, fostering community-based environmental actions, advocacy, youth climate dialogue, providing a platform for impactful discussions on climate politics, skills, job, and entrepreneurship, initiatives like the Eco Brigade program and the Rwanda Greenpreneurs Network, creating green jobs and promoting sustainable entrepreneurship. As we stand at the crossroads of environmental challenges, Rwandan youth have chosen to protect their world and future. Their innovative initiatives, from waste management to sustainable entrepreneurship, stand as beacons of inspiration for global climate action. That is why, among our Rwandan delegation at COP28, more than 55% are youth, because they make more than 60% of our population. In conclusion, we encourage governments, businesses, and partners to join hands with the youth in advancing climate action. Today's session serves as a call to action and an acknowledgement of the transformative power of youth-led initiatives and a pledge to safeguard our common home. As we look forward to the fruitful discussions and commitments that will arise from this session, together, let us rise for a sustainable, just future. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Minister. And you mentioned the public, the private, and the youth partners. So for Green Rising to achieve its very ambitious goals, we need to bring together our partners from across the ecosystem. And we have some of those partners here today, including SAP, Capgemini, Scouts, and some others. So I would like to now call ministers, if you could move for, I think there's a photo op coming, maybe on the side of the stage. And now we have our panelists, if I can invite them all up to the stage. Our moderator will be Charlene Ruto from Kenya, and she is the founder and patron of SMACS Foundation and is a young activist herself. So just want to grab a seat, and then Charlene, I will turn the microphone over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Come on. This is not the energy we have in the room. Good afternoon, everyone. Where are the young people? Come on. That's more like it. That's more like it. So welcome to our panel discussion under this session. My name is Charlene Ruto, as Dr. Kevin has rightly introduced me. Now, according to the little research I did, there are 7 key statistics on climate crisis. Rising temperatures, greenhouse gas emissions, extreme weather patterns, rising sea levels, loss of biodiversity, impact on agriculture, and displacement and populations. This is part of the climate crisis. So what is part of the climate solution or part of the climate action? I wanted to share a bit of experience that we have in Kenya and what we are doing in regards to climate action. Firstly, we have a national government initiative, and part of what we want to do is the 15 billion tree growing campaign. Yes, I know it's a big, hairy, ambitious goal, but it's part of what we plan to achieve. And we started by having our National Tree Planting Day on 13th of November. But we're not just planting trees, we're growing trees as well. The Kenyan government has also initiated the Green Army, where 16,000 young people are going to be employed per month under the Ministry of Environment to maintain various tree nurseries across the country. And lastly, under my own foundation, SMACS Foundation, which stands for Smart Mechanized Agriculture and Climate Action for Humanity and Sustainability, we are encouraging the young people to grow trees the right way. What matters is how we do it. There's a very powerful statement on the Generation Unlimited website page. The Green Rising Initiative, led by UNICEF, GenU, and partners, will create pathways where 10 million children and youth, especially girls in developing countries, will take grassroots action through volunteering, green skills building, jobs, and entrepreneurship and advocacy. I believe that the Kenyan government, SMACS Foundation, are part of these partners and these amazing panelists who are seated here today. So let's get to it. Yes, so thank you to the amazing panelists who are here. And we have Ahmad Al-Hendawi, who's the Secretary General of the World Organization of the Scouts Movement, and actually the youngest to hold that position within the organization, right? And we have Alexandra van de Ploeg, who's the Head of Corporate Social Responsibility at SAP. We have Amal Riden, who has been in the Scouts movement and is a Generation Unlimited YPAT member and a youth negotiator from Tunisia. And we have Shobha Mera, who is the Chief Corporate Responsibility Officer at CAP Gemini, a very rich and robust panel. So we all have one big elephant in the room. We have one question that we need to answer. Why do you, in your various positions and capacities, think that grassroots youth climate action matters? And what are you going to do to support youth action? And what can the rest of us seated in this room do to support the same? I think we'll start with Shobha, who's to my farthest left, as we come up.
Sure, thank you, Charlene. And can you hear me? A warm hello to everybody. I think we've all seen over the last few years the role that youth have played in putting climate action at the top of the global agenda. Just over the last 3 years, over 7 million youth from 140 countries have leaned in and demanded a very justice-oriented focus to climate action. And with the energy, with the many actions that they have taken, they have helped elect green candidates into important positions who've adopted ambitious climate platforms and enacted several green policies as well. Now, as we sit here today, I think we're all acutely aware that the world needs to decarbonize at 11 times the average pace that we've been decarbonizing at over the last 20, 23 years. Imagine the power, unleashing this power. Clearly the youth have the passion, they have the passion, the commitment, the energy. Imagine enabling and unleashing this power for grassroots actions. That can make a tremendous difference and impact. And with that will come the many ripple effects of carrying their communities and their cities to contribute and make this difference as well. And for us, what better way to do that than on this stage, in this platform with UNICEF Generation Unlimited and phenomenal partners like we have here at the stage. So for us, at Capgemini, we have a deep commitment to sustainable and inclusive futures. And we believe that green skills are fundamental to success for the youth in the future. So we are very happy to be part of this, and we're going to do this and much more.
Thank you so much, Shobha. I see with Capgemini, you've been doing a lot of technology application in sustainability. So thank you for the efforts you're making in terms of youth action. Now, over to you, Ahmad. What are you doing in terms of grassroots climate action, and how can we continue supporting the initiatives by young people in this initiative?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Arlene. Well, first of all, very happy to join on behalf of the World Scout Movement, 174 national Scout organizations, to team up with the Green Rising. Actually, we have our very own reasons why we believe this work is extremely important, to the point about engaging the grassroots. This morning, we heard Andrew talking about the UNESCO report of July this year, and talking about, well, 95% of teachers believe we should teach climate change, yet only 30% of them know how to do it. And then on the other hand, you have majority of young people believing in a climate change, and also almost 30% of them were able to explain what a climate change is. And if we were to count informal education as we know it today, I'm afraid we'll not be able to get the job done. We were just in Paris for bringing climate kind of educationalists across the Scout movement over the past few days. And one of the kind of observations made there, it takes almost 7 years to 8 years to kind of update a curriculum at the national level. You can imagine how slow the formal education system is when it comes to adopting new technologies or new concepts, or even training teachers, getting the schools up to speed. So the formal education system, as we know, is extremely slow, extremely sometimes inefficient. And I would dare to say that young people, in fact, learn in spite of formal education, not because of formal education. And that's not an invitation to give up on it. I think it's still we need to double down in fixing it. But then we have this massive generation of young people, where they are going to learn all these concepts, where they are going to master all these skills, values, and knowledge. And I believe non-formal education, the other tools, organizations like the Scouts and many others, partnerships like a Green Rising that brings us all to focus on a grassroots action mobilization is extremely important. It's not even a luxury. I mean, if we establish that it will take us this long to get that concept through formal education, then we have to find our shortcuts. I believe Green Rising, the work that the non-formal education provides, offers that shortcut. The last analogy I would draw here, sometimes I think formal education is like this very heavy ship kind of, that is very difficult to move. And sometimes might be a sinking one, in fact, in many places. I think in a lot of places, some of these programs, partnerships that can be plugged into formal education are the speedboats that are coming to rescue sometimes a failing formal education system in many places. We have to fix formal education, but we really cannot afford to wait for many years of that very lengthy process to get it. We need to find these speedboats and shortcuts, and I think this partnership is one of them.
Thank you so much, Ahmad. Plug and play is the way to go. And coming over to you, Alexandra, looking at this question about climate youth action, I want you to base it on the 3 key areas of SAP's CSR responsibility.
Thank you so much. Look, I think, like all of you, I'm very honored and pleased to be here with all of you. Look, I think the core at what we do is that we don't just believe that young people are the leaders of the future, they're already leading the change today. And I think that if you believe that wholeheartedly, then you take a very different approach to looking at how you can rally behind young people, how you can support them with the right skills, provide employment opportunities, but particularly also create representation opportunities, and more importantly, at some point, just get out of the way. And let young people lead. I just want to give 2 examples. One is through Green Rising, we are supporting digital campaigns so that young people can take action across the globe for climate change. We've been doing this now for, I think, 2 years, together with incredible partners like UNICEF, Generation Limited, Goodwill, Accenture. There's lots of people involved. This year alone, in the lead up to COP, we've had 15,000 young people who've been engaging through these digital challenges, and of course we need to accelerate that. This is all running on a platform that I think UNICEF Generation Limited should be really proud of. It's called the Youth Agency Marketplace. And the reason why I believe that we should be really proud of it is that it's probably the only digital platform that exists that was developed by young people for young people. And it's to create an ecosystem of opportunities for young people to learn, to lead, to change, but also to earn. And I think that is incredibly important. And the last point I would like to make is about representation. I'm so glad to see both of you here. And so many young people in the room, because I think it's incredibly essential to bring young people to the table, not just to hear their voice, but to actually include them in decision-making processes. So we've been very proudly supporting over 50 young people to be at COP. We will continue doing it at other big conferences, and they've been running around for the last week or so, being part of really important conversations and trying to lead the change from within.
Thank you, Alexandra. I think you're confirming that the youth actually have a seat and a voice in the table, and with mentors and collaborators such as SAP and Generation Unlimited, we're really headed in the right direction. Now, coming to our great young panelists, Amal, tell us, when it comes to climate youth action and grassroots climate youth action, you're both an activist, but you have a seat at the table. You're a negotiator. So how can we move from being part of the policy to actually being part of the action as well?
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. I think sometimes we get really overwhelmed in the strategic debate of this climate crisis, in the sense that we run from one policy document to another, from a negotiation room to another, and it's been really hectic, I'm sure, for all of you here for the past week, and we tend to forget actually the beauty of what we are defending for. And I think that this is where the grassroots climate action comes in. And I learned this being a scout myself, and we sometimes get into the strategic bit, but then learning by doing, one of the elements of the scout method is what reminds you of how it actually feels being on ground, supporting local initiatives. And then I think as young people and taking care of elements that really matter to our own local context, seeing huge shifts from my childhood to now in my home country is actually what driving me, even when sometimes I feel overwhelmed and would really question, why am I doing this, and what am I getting myself into? So, and if we grow, or if we make sure that we provide young people with a right platform, like what we are doing with the Green Rising now, this is something that grows with young people, and it will be forever installed in their core mission, in their reason to be and their reason to do. I think I'm happy to belong to a generation that really cares about our current life and also about our future. And I come also from a continent that is projected to have third of the world young people in 2050 proudly. And I think it is really, really important that both the public sector, the private sector keep youth at their heart, the PPYP model that we are calling for in Generation Unlimited. And I am a product of this model. I've been engaging with the Changemakers Exchange community, one of the close partners of SAP as well. So I think it's important that we provide young people with these complementary assets that equip them, that make them really having this adaptability, because it's not a matter of one particular skill set. It's a matter of, yes, how you can, as a young person, be ready for these challenges and how you are ready to cope with them. And I think that this event today, but also this panel, is really inciting towards this, and I'm looking forward to have a common and collective ownership to this, because I'm not sure we have the option.
Thank you for your sentiments, Amal. I think what the panel are saying in short is it's for the young people, by the young people. We had just 2 minutes for each of our panelists, and thank you so much for keeping time. We'd like to invite Kevin, Dr. Kevin, back to the podium. Please, a round of applause for the amazing sentiments from our panelists. Thank you, Kevin.
So So thank you, Charlene. Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you for bringing some youthful energy to the morning. Really appreciate that. Thank you to our private sector. Thank you, Shoba, Alex, for making sure private sector is at the table to support young people. Thank you to Scouts. We as civil society organizations, multilaterals, we have to come together and synergize. So thanks for coming on the trip with us. And of course, thank you all for always being there to be the voice of youth driving us forward. Okay, to close this session now, we have a very special guest, the Deputy Executive Director at UNICEF of Partnerships. I can tell you, I've now been working with her for a number of months, a huge advocate for children, for youth, and for the planet. So to close today's session, Kitty, over to you.
Well, let's wait with the clapping. We'll see. Okay, first of all, I need to do a truckload of thank yous. So I'm sure I'm going to forget someone. Government of India, Egypt, Rwanda, Capgemini, SAP, Scouts Movement. Charlene, fantastic what you're doing. The many people who are not here, who enable us to do what we need to do. The government of the Netherlands, of Ireland, Canada, Unilever, Accenture, Goodwill, Tony Elemalu. This is a partnership. And why is that a partnership? Because we have a hell of a challenge ahead. Now, you saw that wonderful song just now, Agents of Change, and I was so inspired because this is everything that Green Rising is about. But when I came here, I saw another song. There was a big group of children. They were chanting and they were shouting and they were angry. And they were saying, let's keep the 1.5 alive. Now that's a beautiful rhyme and I love it. But we also have to keep human lives. We have to look at children's lives. We have 1 billion children that are currently at risk, at extreme risk, of the impact of climate change. And at the same time, while those figures are daunting, they put me to bed angry, and I get up angry because we can change this world. And what Green Rising is about is just that. It is making sure that young people are no longer just vulnerable victims of what my generation has done, but that they become champions of climate action and that they become agents of change, that they're the movers and the shakers in the solution space. Now, we've never had a larger cohort of young people in the world ever in the history of mankind. And many people here say, oh, that's very scary. You know what? This is the biggest power we have. The biggest power we have. It is endless power, renewable power. If only we were to equip, empower, and enable them to take life into their own hands and make change happen. Young people like Charlene are not going to wait till adults get their act together. They want to act now, and that's what Green Rising is about. As temperatures are rising, young people are rising to the occasion, and what we at UNICEF are trying to do is to support them, is to make sure not just that their voice is heard, but that they're equipped and enabled to make that change happen. And they're already doing that. They're lending their time, their creativity, their grit, their innovation to make that change happen, as you saw in Agents of Change. And they're holding a mirror to us here as a global community, to corporations, to countries, and to each of us individually. As we go to bed and we look into that mirror, have we done enough? Have we done enough to save vulnerable children and equip young adults? Have we done enough? And I'm asking you to look into your mirror tonight and ask that question again. We at UNICEF are determined to support children and the youth grassroots movement for action. Just imagine, just dream for a second. Just dream for a second. What 10 million young people can do if they are equipped, if they volunteer, and if they live their dream for a better planet. That's what you saw. It's Agents for Change. Now, I love art and I believe in the true power of music, but I also love another artist. His name is Michelangelo. And for those that have ever been in the 16th chapel, you may have seen those fingers. the connection we have as mankind across countries, across generations, across gender, across ethnicity. But he was also a philosopher. And he said one thing I want you to keep in mind. If we are thinking of the dream of young people for a greener planet, let's live by what he said. He said the greatest danger for mankind is not that we set our ambition too high and fail to meet the mark. Rather, it is that we as adults set our aim too low and we meet that mark. Let's make sure that young people dream, they create a better planet. They will not wait for adults to get their act together. Let's enable them, equip them, empower them as they rise to the occasion. Thank you.
So that concludes today's session, but maybe I'll finish on one note. You heard about partnership, and you see all sorts of different organizations represented here. The Green Rising is a movement. We need partners. So please, anybody who is out there today listening, if this resonates and you want to contribute, you want to participate, find us. We'll be here all day. There's lots of Generation Unlimited, UNICEF people, partners. So please, join the Green Rising movement, and let's do this together. Thank you.